And the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, and cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Mr. Arthur Woods, age 78 of Childersburg, died Tuesday. Funeral service will be Monday. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel at 11 a.m. with Pastor Mike Johnson officiating. Burial in the Kahatchee Cemetery. Visitation at the Childersburg Chapel 1 hour prior to the service. Online condolences at curtissonsonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel directing. Graveside service for William Reeves Baird, age 78 of Talladega, will be Sunday at 2 o'clock from Winterboro Baptist Church Cemetery. Fond memories and expressions of sympathy may be shared at curtissonsonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, Sylacauga, directing. Funeral service for Wendell Philip Rayfield, age 86 of Weguffka, will be Saturday at 11:30 from Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, with the Reverend Keith Owensby officiating. Burial in the Evergreen Cemetery. Visitation begins at 10 a.m. the morning of the service. Mr. Rayfield died Tuesday, January 4th at his residence. He was retired from the U.S. Army, having served in both Korea and Vietnam. Online condolences at curtissonsonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel directing. Funeral service for Michael Thomas Hawkeye Horton will be today at 2 p.m. from Curtis & Son North. I'll be officiating that service. Burial in the Evergreen Cemetery. Visitation 1 until 2 prior to the service. Online condolences at curtissonsonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel directing. Graveside service for James Ludwig Colvin, age 95, is today at 2 p.m. from Lincoln Cemetery. Visitation prior to the service, 12:30 to 1:30 at Earth Tree Funeral Home in Talladega. Online condolences at earthtreefuneralhome.com. Earth Tree Funeral Home, Talladega directing. Danielle Morgan, age 37 of Sylacauga, died December 24th in an automobile accident. Funeral service for Danielle will be Saturday at 2 o'clock. I'll be officiating that service. Online condolences at curtissonsonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel directing. Celebration of life for Mrs. Willie Ann Jones, age 90, is 11 o'clock Saturday at Bethel Missionary Baptist Church with the Reverend Clint Walker, the pastor, and Minister James Chapman providing the eulogy. Burial in the church cemetery. The body will lie in state at the church 1 hour prior to the service. Visitation is today 1 until 7 at the funeral home. Attendance is limited to the family only, and everyone must wear a mask. Terry's Metropolitan Mortuary directing. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Mr. Robert Francis G. Taylor, age 53 of Talladega, is today at 1 o'clock from New Maryland Church Cemetery with the Reverend Brian Miller officiating. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home and Crematory directing. Memorial service for Thelma M. Evans, age 97 of Sylacauga, will be Friday, January the 14th at 10 o'clock, followed by interment in the Evergreen Memorial Cemetery in Sylacauga. Family and friends are invited to a luncheon at Grimes Chapel Baptist Church. There will be a public viewing on Thursday, January 13th, 5 till 8 at the funeral home. Radley Smith Funeral Home in Sylacauga directing. Funeral service for Micaiah Taylor Wheeler will be Saturday, January the 8th at noon from Liberty Christian Church in Harpersville. Burial in the Evergreen Cemetery. Visitation today, 2 until 7 o'clock at the funeral home, Community Funeral Home directing. And Betty Twyman of Childersburg died at her residence January 5th, Community Funeral Home announcing. Funeral service for Kimberly Maxine Stone Hayes, age 50 of Sylacauga, is Saturday at 11 from the chapel of Radley Smith Funeral Home. Brother Lester Hayes, along with Brother Lester Hayes Jr. officiating. Burial in the Harpersville Cemetery. Mrs. Hayes died January 3rd at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Visitation Saturday, 9:30 to 11 at the funeral home. Radley Smith Funeral Home directing. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Minister Doris Johnson, age 72 of Talladega, will be Saturday at 1 o'clock from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home Chapel with Pastor James Curry officiating. Public viewing for Minister Johnson will be today, 3 to 7 at the funeral home, S.M. Goodson Funeral Home directing. Graveside funeral service for Mrs. Mary Dauphine Whaley, age 91 of Alexander City, is Saturday at 2 o'clock from Hillview Memorial Park. Brother Brendan Chance of Alexander City Church of Christ will officiate. Family and friends are invited to the graveside service. Ms. Watley died January 1st at UAB in Birmingham. She was a member of the Alexander City Church of Christ. Radley Funeral Home, Alexander City directing. And public viewing for Mr. Jackie T. Ransall, age 51 of Alexander City, will be Saturday at Armour's Memorial Chapel in Alexander City from 2 until 4 o'clock. Mr. Ransall died Sunday, January 2nd at Russell Medical Center. Final arrangements entrusted to Armour's Memorial Funeral Home, Alexander City. This obituary report this morning, courtesy of Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.